In the Premier League alone, Tottenham have lost 7 out of their last 11 matches. They've recorded only 4 clean sheets in their last 37, and they've only won 8 out of the last 22. Those stats right there, they're shocking reading. But the question is, does Ange Postecoglou deserve the sack?
Well, those stats are certainly damning, and it does fall on Ange's head because at the end of the day, he's the head coach, he's the main man, and he's very, very tactically naive. And we saw that against Arsenal, right? He didn't look to change the system, and this has been a constant issue through, well, this whole season, really, and the back end of last season, where he'll look to just sort of basically keep it as it is, because, like I said, he's naive, right?
He's very stubborn as well.
He is, yeah. And that's the thing. That's what costs us, right? Especially in the North London derby, right? Because all we're doing is getting the ball to centre-back, we're playing it out to the wing, left winger, and we bring it back to centre-back, bring it out to the right winger, and all it is like a horseshoe shape, and it's just a constant loop around. Like
just recycling possession.
That's the thing.
There's
and that's
no
why
urgency or intricate passes or decisive passes.
And that's why we have so much possession per game, because it looks, you look at the stats and we have almost 70% possession every game. But that's why, because we don't actually do anything with it. We just keep the ball, but don't do anything with it. And teams set up now to just sit back because they know that's how they get on us. You look at the game against Newcastle, where we dominated the game, right, possession-wise, and we created chances, and we couldn't finish them off, which is another issue. Newcastle got the other end of the score. Out completely against the run of play, but they won the game. And it's the same with Arsenal,
just hitting you on the break.
Exactly. We've dominated the possession with Arsenal, didn't really actually create much with it. Arsenal go and hit us on a set piece, because all they did is just sit back. And that's not me saying, like, Arteta's the next Sean Dyche, right, but I'm trying to say, like, that is what they did. It's smart from Arteta, but then again, is it that smart? Because I know that all you've got to do is just sit back, play some long balls, and you can get through on our defence. And that is poor, and that's where Ange needs to fix it. But like I said earlier, with the lack of finishing, it is dreadful, awful. It is so frustrating to watch, right? The amount of chances that we have created but miss, and the game against Newcastle does stand out. And this happened the back end of last season as well, where we create chances but we would not put them away. And I'm sure you're going to read in a second because the stats back that up.
They're not good reading at all, are they?
Not at all.
Well,
no.
When you look at expected goals, you're 8th in the Premier League with 4.87.
Which is good.
That's not bad. You're creating decent quality chances. But what is bad reading is that the XG per shot goes down to 12th in the Premier League with 0.101. But the worst stat of them all is
awful. Penalty
box entries ending in a shot is 18th worst in the Premier League. So every time you enter the penalty box, the chance of it ending in the shot is 25%. And
dreadful.
When you enter the box, it's got to be above 50%.
Yeah.
You enter the box for a reason.
Yeah.
And clearly you're entering the box and either squandering easy chances.
You've got to have purpose with it.
Because you're losing possession or you're playing a dodgy pass when you should be shooting. And these stats there are just shocking reading.
Well,
it just shows us their decisiveness.
That's what I'm saying. You've got to have purpose. When you go into the box, you've got to have drive. You've got to know that you want to get a shot on goal 100%. And you want to score. Not just go to me, to you. It's like the Chuckle Brothers when we're in the attack. It's absolutely dreadful. Just passing it around. It's like hot potato. The ball's hot potato. They don't want the ball. It's like, you have it. You shoot.
Just take a shot. Just take a shot.
You shoot.
And you've got accomplished finishers. Solanke, Son, Maddison. They're all capable of scoring good goals. It's not as if you playing up top with, I don't know, some absolute nobody who can't hit a barn door with a sack of seed,
It's awful. And I think these current crop of players as well, I'll be honest, I don't think Ange actually particularly wants them, or I don't think he wants them if he wants to play the way he wants to. I don't think they quite exactly suit
Brennan
his
Johnson,
system.
Solanke, Maddison, these are players that he's brought in there.
That is true, but then that's the thing. It happened with Conte, right, where we don't know actually if there's club signings, because we knew Maddison was really, really wanted by the club, and Daniel Levy especially, right? Okay. And under Conte, we could have signed Maddison, but Daniel Levy really wanted him, but Conte said no. But now obviously Ange come in, and I assume Ange has approved it, right?
Yeah, because he likes a creative 10 in his team.
Exactly. And whether Ange has actually went out and said, I want Maddison, he has approved it. So yes, that is on him. I do agree with that. But I also do think that a lot of them are club signings because, well, you look at the players we signed this window, right? A lot of them are teenagers. We've only had one marquee signing, which is Solanke.
He's good, that Bergvall, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're not, but what I'm saying is they're for the future. And, I mean, I said a tweet, right, not long ago, where Ange Postecoglou is not in any danger of losing his job, which is expected. We're never going to sack him unless we will. Well, not anytime soon anyway. Obviously in the future maybe, but not right now. And even though Tottenham have had a slow start to the season, I don't see Ange being sacked anytime soon. And the club's project, though, this is what I found strange. The club's project is all centred around Ange Postecoglou. That to me made no sense, because that's why I replied saying, so our project is all centred around someone we are never going to actually back. And this isn't a statement directed at Ange. I'm not slating Ange with this. This is a statement directed towards the board, because backing managers at this club, it just doesn't happen. I don't think we've ever backed a manager, to be honest. No. Like fully, I'm talking fully. Might have half backed him, might have 8% backed him. Never fully though. It never happens.
Never got him all the players he wanted.
No, exactly. It never happens at our club, and every manager comes out and says, I wanted this player, but I didn't get him. Right? So that's always a thing at Tottenham, and that's why I'm saying, like, what's the point in building a project around him when we're never going to back him. And to me, the fact that we signed three teenagers this summer, and Ange isn't playing he isn't playing any of them. How much did you
spend on those 3 teenagers?
It was 40 million on Gray. I can't remember much on Bergvall because that was in January, and Odegaard was like 30 million, I think, if I remember right.
So you have spent a hefty amount on these teenagers.
Yeah,
they haven't just cost 5-10 million each.
No. But that tells me the fact that Ange isn't playing them tells me he doesn't have confidence in them. Well, you'd think that if he's signing players, he'd have confidence.
Yeah, but maybe he's signing them now, and maybe thought maybe they would be ready, but they're not quite there yet, or they're not picking up the system. Maybe 6 months down the line into the season, they'll be ready to in bed.
I see him more of a future investment, right? Where I see it as a club. That's a club. To me, I see them as club signings.
Do you think the club's looked at them and gone, in 5 years' time, these could be good. top players? We'll get them now.
But Ange isn't going to be there. Who's
in charge?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Ange isn't going to be there then.
Clip right? that. He's there. Imagine he'd be there in 5 years.
Well, I hope so, because obviously it means he's done well. But he's not going to be
likelihood is very slim, yeah.
When they're hitting their best years or anywhere near their best years, which tells me that they're club signings, which tells me you're not going to back him. So why are you building a project around someone you're never going to actually back fully?
But do you think Postecoglou is partially to blame? Because, for example, I look back at Klopp's early days at Liverpool before we really started winning the Champions League, winning the Premier League, sort of 16, 17, 17, 18.
Yeah.
There are a lot of similarities with this Postecoglou Tottenham team in the sense of they're very open, very expansive, very stuck to their roots. Klopp in his early days at Liverpool was more stubborn. He was less likely to change.
Yeah.
And then in 18, 19, 19, 20, he said, let's press a little bit less. Let's be a little bit less open and compensate on that heavy metal footballer approach to be a more well-rounded outfit. Maybe Postecoglou has to take a leaf out of Klopp's book and go, do I just be a bit more pragmatic?
Yeah.
A bit more sort of less intense, and maybe I'll gain more results and inevitably win more trophies.
Yeah, well, as I mentioned earlier, I do think Ange does have his part to blame where he needs to fix things, and there's a lot of issues there that do fall on his head, to be fair. But it's the same with every manager. Every manager has their own sort of errors, right? Their own ways and their own ways of not working.
You're
right?
never actually getting the best manager in the world. You're not recruiting Pep,
No,
Klopp.
exactly. That's the thing.
Conte's and Mourinho, although they're high caliber managers, at the same time, Mourinho wasn't in his best period in time of management. And although Conte's class, it just shows you how messed up Tottenham is as a club.
Well, it's an absolute,
how they run.
It's absolutely abysmal. The club, the entire club, is the way it's run. Right, as a business, fantastic, but as a football club, shocking. And I've said this many times on the channel, right? And I said in the last video, actually, funny enough, I said if we back Ange, we can actually get somewhere. But in my opinion, clearly we haven't. And
so you still believe you can get somewhere? You don't think it?
Yeah, if we back him.
But you do believe though that his tactics do need to change.
Of course, yeah, he needs to adapt.
Because I think when he came in, didn't he say something along the lines of "This is the way I'm going to play"?
Yeah,
whether we like
and
it
he
or
needs
not.
to fix that. I'll be real, because we're in the Premier League here.
Tone it down a bit.
He does have his issues. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, Postecoglou's perfect." There's nothing wrong with him. It's all on the club, because obviously he has his issues. Just like Conte, just like Mourinho, just like Nuno, just like Poch when he had his errors as well, right? Every manager has their own errors, but they're just symptoms, right? These errors that occur, they're just symptoms of the actual issue. Like, you know, when you have an illness, you don't just try and cure the symptoms, you try and cure the actual illness itself, the issue at hand, which is the board.